Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to this deep dive on demand event, which is a part of a series of events we're running at EuropeActive. These are pre-EHFF European Health and Fitness Forum events. My name is Julian Berriman. I'm the director of EuropeActive's Professional Standards Committee, which has a focus on educational standards and runs the European Register of Exercise Professionals. Today, we're going to be talking about the rise of the hybrid model. We'll explain what that is and implications for fitness professionals in the new normal. So basically, what might that mean? What does the hybrid model mean? And by the hybrid model, we're talking about that mix of traditional live gym instruction, personal training, with online options that many gyms are now introducing. So I want to really get under the skin of those hybrid models, how they're actually working with employers, with operators, and what the implications are for fitness professionals. So if we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so just to thank our sponsors for today's event, very much appreciated, and we couldn't do this without those sponsors. So thank you all for doing that for us. So today we're going to conduct this session as a chat, as a conversation, a fireside chat. I think we described it as. So we're going to be we've got a series of panelists. Myself as the moderator. We have Dipanda Vilhena from Fitness Hut and VivaGym. We have Fabrice Williquet from Physical Coaching Academy. So I should say, obviously, that Dipanda is an operator, and Fabrice, Physical Coaching Academy, is a training provider. So we want to get both of those perspectives. And we also have Henk Jan-Thoes from Basic Fit International joining us today. So we'll have contributions from everybody, and I'm sure those contributions will be very interesting. Okay, so I think that's that. Are we ready to start talking? Good. We've got the communal view now, and I think you can probably see everybody. So I guess, guys, I just like a brief introduction from each of you, your organization, your role within that organization, and no, let's just start with that. So Henk, maybe we could start with you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Julian, first of all, for being here at this session. My name is Henk Jan-Thoes, since 2018, working for Basic Fit at the head office close to Amsterdam in the role of product director, in which I'm responsible for the fitness product. So physically, what do our clubs look like? What's the equipment? What's the zoning? What's the experience of our members inside the clubs? But of course, and not just for this meeting, about talking about hybrid, also on the digital part, what is all the fitness content? What do we deliver as an operator to our customers? I have a background, originally physiotherapist, got in touch with the fitness industry a few decades ago, started work for Technogym. First in Benelux region, then got to work at the head office as a product manager, and from there, traveled the world, developed some pretty good equipment, as I can still say, and then moved to Basic Fit in this role at a large operator. Basic Fit, shortly, I don't know, should explain now? We do it later. A few words on Basic Fit, just to get the idea of the size. If somebody doesn't know, 910 sites divided in 5 countries. And I think interesting for this, working with a network of personal trainers, of freelance personal trainers, more than 1,500. We call it the head trainer model. So personal trainers actually rent spaces. We'll talk about more detail later probably. But that's what, in a nutshell, Basic Fit is about.
Okay. Fantastic. So those PTs, they rent space. They're basically self-employed within your clubs.
Exactly yes. Like that.
Okay, fantastic. And Dipanda, maybe.
Hi, Julian. Thank you for having me here. with this panelist. So for me, my background, I started as a basketball coach and also a football coach. I worked in Holmes Place for 8 years as a personal trainer, as a gym manager trainee, as a master trainer also. Then I was invited by my friend Likud, who is the founder of Fitness Hut, with Andre Groen and also with Julio Carvalho. They invited me to be the PT director for Fitness Hut. I've been in Fitness Hut, and I'm responsible for personal training since 2010 when we started the project. Then on 2018, there was a merge between VivaGym and Fitness Hut, and I was invited to become the Iberian director for personal training for both countries. Talking about the numbers, so now we have roughly, I think, 98 clubs. And before the pandemic, the first lockdown, we had around 850 PTs between both countries. The larger piece of the business was in Portugal, but we had 706 PTs, more or less. That was the numbers. And then my role was to develop and try to build up a business on personal training in Portugal, in Fitness Hut. Our business model is similar like Henk. So the PTs pay us a fee, and they can make as much money as they can. And then in VivaGym, it's very similar. We have PT companies. They hire the personal trainers, and they pay us a fee for every personal trainer in VivaGym. So my role is that, and a part of that, I have 3 kids. They give me some headaches sometimes, but that's who I am, more or less, roughly, and receiving.
Lovely, thank you, Dipanda. Okay, lovely, and Fabrice, maybe.
Yeah, thank you, Julian, and thank you for having me on this discussion. So shortly, yes, I am CEO of Physical Coaching Academy. So we are a training provider in the health fitness industry. So we've been on the market now for about 10 years. And actually, our mission is to help coaches become successful and to change as many lives as possible. So that's why I stand up actually every morning. I have 2 kids, so maybe a bit less than you, Dipanda, but it's a lot of work, I agree. I have a background actually outside of the industry, but I had the opportunity and the pleasure to meet Henk Jan at Technogym during a few years. I think it was about 10 years ago, Henk Jan, so we're getting old. But back in the industry now with a lot of pleasure, a lot of passion as well. Shortly about Physical Coaching Academy, we are one of the leading training provider in Belgium. So we have been an NASM international licensee since the very beginning, so since 10 years. And also proud to say the first EuropeActive accredited training provider in Belgium 10 years ago. So we've been in a good
Well done, Fabrice.
Thank you for all those years. So that's nice to sort of have those kind of discussions now and doing things together. And next to NASM, we are also distributing Precision Nutrition. So one of the big nutrition course in this world. And we have developed ourselves an extensive portfolio of about 25 courses and 4 specializations. So we teach in French, in Dutch, and in English. And we have about, to give you a number, about 200 people going through the NASM Certified Personal Trainer accreditation every year. And those people are also being set in the EREP register, so level 4. So that's a short introduction of what we are doing right now.
That's lovely. Thank you, Fabrice, and thank you for the support and for the support for EREPs. That's very much appreciated. Okay, guys. So let's start our discussion now that we've got some insight into you all, some great experience in the room for sure. So obviously, as we went through the COVID period, the pandemic, etc., it wasn't the fact that online training, online technology didn't exist. It was certainly there for us all. But I think what we saw during the COVID period and what we continue to see now is a massive acceleration in that trend towards the interaction, the use of various online options, whether that's a live online provision or an on-demand provision. So I guess all of you, to some degree, were confronted with quite a challenge that you had to look at your operations, that we couldn't deliver. Our gyms were closed. Fabrice couldn't deliver live to his student body. So we had to be innovative and adaptable, and we had to look at those online solutions. Now, you may already been doing those things, and certainly you can talk about that. But could you maybe just first of all just talk about how you have adapted through the COVID period, and then we can talk about what that potentially looks like in the future. So maybe again, Henk, if we start with you. So you know, how did Basic Fit cope with all of that?
Yeah, sure. With so many clubs, very different than a standalone club where you eventually can call every client personally, you know, and ask them for their commitment and, you know, offer personalized solutions. So we are very a scaled company. Fortunately, first of all, to start off with, we were already creating our group class program called GXR, releasing every 3 months 14 classes virtually. So we own our own TV studio where we record those classes. So we have already set up that kind of virtual offering. We were very happy with. We were actually being able to use that professional quality. And actually the interesting part was for us in our discussions, how do we deal with it? Because everybody in the industry started to offer online very often, kind of, with all respect, amateuristic, you know, from homes, and what we saw actually was very interesting, that those were very much appreciated. So we were actually more discussing how do we have to downsize the quality of content we deliver, as everybody seems to deliver that at that level. And we
a little more informal, perhaps.
Maybe, you know. Yes. So anyway, we did it in addition, and we didn't change, of course, that type of professional quality program. And we saw a huge uptake of the video views on our platform. We could see the numbers really going sky high, especially the first lockdown. And then a very interesting development, we saw, okay, people got a little bit bored of working out from home. So we saw the curve going down. However, very interesting, the people who were watching were very much into it, and we saw the uptake, the frequency per week increasing. So in general, absolutely speaking, less people over time, but those who were attending really started to appreciate it more, and our view time per class basically raised. So that was a very interesting one. Our main decision in the company, I think that was afterwards, you could say, it was a very wise decision. Afterwards, we're not yet there. Holland just opened. France and Belgium are still closed, June the 9th. Spain kept open mainly, but France, our biggest country, is still closed. Yeah. I think the biggest decision business-wise we made was to not further, or to freeze the memberships, basically, not let our customers pay. In the first lockdown, we gave them options. In the second lockdown, we said, no, we're going to freeze all the memberships. People will not pay anymore. As you can understand, once we're opening, we don't want to see all those. We don't want to lose members. It's not possible because you have to build that up again. So it was a very costly decision, of course. And it had some consequences for Basic Fit, but fortunately now we're looking at the future really in a very optimistic phase now. We see in Holland opening now in the first week, our uptake, our sales is going pretty good, as we have seen in the UK, right, when clubs opened again. So very positive.
And I guess you're offering, you have both live online content and on-demand.
Yeah, the on-demand, actually what we are already doing. We added then at the level more on the socials. So not really members only, but more on the social media. We offered also live content with our presenters. And actually, I could say we learned a lot. We'll probably talk about it more, how we're going to move on with it. Some good lessons learned, let's say, and we really maximized our learnings from that period. Things we will continue to do, other things we will stop doing, and really kind of focused our thinking on this.
So you sort of, when what you just said there, I think, Henk, was that you reached out beyond your membership with
that was what we were trying, and actually, and we'll talk about it again, probably later, but I think the very interesting thing is not just the hybrid model itself. It's not just about the channels. It's also really about what content to show, because you're reaching a different audience. That's actually what we learned as well. So are we still, and also I guess for personal trainers, it's the same. Are we still talking to the same type of member who we see in the club, or do we kind of scratch the surface of an entire new group of people where the opportunity for us as an industry is all about? So we might also adapt our content. If we are talking about this hybrid model going online, we might be easier to reach those people who were traditionally not interested in fitness. But that's just where we're at the beginning.
There's some potential there for sure, right? To grow the pie, as they say, to interact with sections of the community maybe we haven't previously interacted with.
Absolutely.
Lovely. And Dipanda, so how did it go for Fitness Hut and VivaGym?
So I was just listening to Henk, and I was just thinking we did similarly the same things, because the thing was for us to hold fast and learn fast and stay true to our knowledge. The first thing that we did was trying to be there for our members. So I'm just going to talk about it more the product. We were on the edge of creating something to go online, but then the pandemic came, and then we need to decide very fast. The way we did it was to deliver classes online, first live classes through social media. And then we had kind of a project of a channel, we call it Hut Home for Fitness Hut and Viva Home for VivaGym. So the idea was to stay connected to members, to give them content, to give them classes, and also PT sessions online. My main concern was the personal trainers, because at the time we had more than 700 personal trainers. So how to keep them motivated, because if they don't go to the clubs, give their PT sessions, they're not making money. So my first concern was how to help these people. So we gave to them online training through Zoom. We gave them training about marketing online, about sales, how to promote themselves, how to record videos, because like Henk was saying, some of them was very amateur, but people were engaging with them. So they were using Instagram, they were using WhatsApp, they were using FaceTime to give classes. So my main concern was, guys, this is a different scenario. This is a new norm. So we need to adapt. So we need to adapt fast. And then what we did was trying to keep engaged and connect and give members a solution during the lockdown. On the second lockdown, we already had this project, and then we kind of turned it around to a more professional way. So, for example, our idea was to have, for example, a studio where our instructors could go there, recorded classes, now we have on-demand and live classes. And we also thinking on this second lockdown, we were trying to give our members, how can I say, a possibility to have online and offline membership. So we were thinking, are we going to charge the online version also? But then we decided not to charge, and we said, no, we're going to give this for free because we need to keep the connection. And I do believe then that we're going to have all of these members, that some of them, of course, they are gone forever because they're doing outdoor activities, but some of them are coming back. And for example, in Portugal, we opened on the 5th of April, and the sales were just to the roof. Members wanted to work out. They really wanted to go to the gyms and work themselves out and go back and then come again. So now a little bit of, like Henk was saying, a little bit dropping on sales and also to attendance of the gym. But we are very pleased with what we have right now. And the future for me, I do believe is going to be bright, because I do believe that people are coming back strongly to the gyms.
Okay. That's great. I mean, you raise an interesting point there about the sort of the monetization of online provision, and you're looking to provide this as an additional service which you're not charging for. You can see other benefits, of course, of this in terms of engagement with members and maybe reaching out to more members. I don't know if that's the same model for you, Henk. Are you a Basic Fit looking to charge? Can I ask that? Is that fair?
Yeah, you can ask, definitely. No, as we had already our online offering in our app actually included in the membership. We decided actually a few years ago to have that pro coach, as we call it that time, as an add-on to the membership. We decided to cut it up and really go for, allowing everybody to see that content. And for the moment, at the level, the content we now offer, we include it in the membership. And we are, as said, we have been learning from this period, and of course we're exploring to see. But what we see as well is just how to monetize. Is not just enough, because as we all know, YouTube is full of content, right? So what's that extra thing? What's that additional? What makes the client click in order to pay for? And that's, I think, a very delicate one. And it's not just creating some classes, putting it online, or just calling it live. I think it's very much more related to things like the type of content we just talked about, right? Is it just, workouts as everybody's offering, or specific target group, level of personalization, level of interaction possible on that? I guess much more on those side effects than just putting a video out there and saying, now you have to pay for it.
That's what really interests me, that extra thing. What is that extra thing? Because there's so much content out there.
Sure.
You have lots of competition, influencers out there on social media, etc., etc. So let's come back to that extra thing, Henk, if we can. But one thing that I picked up on there from Dipanda was the fact that you were offering some additional training to your personal trainers in how they work with an online situation. So, and you referred to, you gave them skills in maybe recording content, but also in marketing themselves online, selling themselves online, these kind of skills. And so we'll come back to that. And it sort of draws me into Fabrice a little bit, in that, Fabrice as a training provider, you have your 200 or graduates coming through Physical Coaching Academy annually. That's fantastic. And those guys are going to go out into a marketplace where they may operate independently, and they certainly want to maybe tap into the online opportunities that exist, or they'll be going into clubs maybe run by Henk or Dipanda, where there'll be, there are requirements around delivery of online content. So can you maybe talk about how, as a training provider, you've addressed that?
Yeah, well, if I look back, like Henk Jan and Dipanda did, of course, we have a very different target group, because we are not talking to end customers, but really to people working as coaches and health professionals that actually came in a situation where they couldn't work anymore. So our first reaction was to say, hey, let's not do crazy things, but let's wait a little bit to see, okay, what was going on, because COVID was a big surprise for all of us. So what we actually did at the beginning, and that's also what I heard from Henk Jan and Dipanda, what I really learned from this situation is that communication is key. So it's very much about staying connected actually to your audience. So we spend a lot of time sending emails, but also calling all those students, because some courses were just stopped, or so courses were delayed, and we didn't know exactly, okay, what's going to look like in the coming weeks or months, because we had no clear deadlines. So communication has been, from my part, very key, and we spent a lot of time with that. And also, that's also, I think, what made that we had a good success during the crisis. So we waited, but what we did, like actually Dipanda did with his team, and congratulations for that, is that we try to, because for us, we always give live courses. We did nothing really online in the past. So we first wanted to experience it, to say, hey, is it something working? And we also needed to have some time to get my tutors, my trainers get experience with online education. So what we did is that we went from 0 to 5 Zoom accounts. So Zoom for me was new. So we discovered the tool. And we first started actually organizing free webinars, actually to support our community of coaches in those difficult times. Okay, and we had a lot of actually positive reaction on that. We are more than 100 people attending those webinars. And so we say, well, and then when I talked with my team, we had a good feeling about giving some kind of content online. And what we also noticed, that we were getting a demand actually from our community. Say, hey guys, I cannot work anymore, so let's use the time I have to get educated. Okay, yeah. And especially during the first lockdown, but it kept actually ongoing. So we actually finally decided to have, so I spent some time with my team to say, what can we actually teach online and what can we not teach online? Because we wanted to make sure that we kept actually a high level of quality. We also kept exactly the same prices. So if we would move to an online course, the price wouldn't change because it was all online real time. So I still had to pay, my tutors and everything. So we wanted to keep the same quality. And we did that in a very successful way, I would say. So we managed actually to keep our volumes quite standard. So we were not that much impacted from the price. We were impacted, but we managed actually to compensate a little bit. What I also saw is that during that time, a lot of people, I think, staying at home, maybe have been thinking like for years, maybe to do this step, moving to the fitness industry, and they had more time to reflect, maybe more time to educate themselves because they were working from home or not working anymore. So we saw a lot of those people coming in, looking for a new challenge and looking to move to a new industry and build a future career. So that was something also we didn't directly expect, but it happened. And when going online, we also noticed, all the positive aspects. We could keep our courses going, even if someone was, had contracted COVID, but with not big symptoms, he could attend. At one of my trainers had contracted COVID, he could still actually give education because he had no big symptoms. And we also had people coming from abroad, from the southern part of France.
Much greater reach, right?
So actually, it opened quite a lot of opportunities. It has been a tremendous experience, a tough one as well, but we learned a lot out of it, I must say. Yeah.
So Fabrice, and I'm just interested from a training provider point of view, because that's sort of my background, really, training provision. So your view of online training, of teaching people in that space, maybe changed a little bit. That you saw quite a lot of positives from that.
Yeah, we did. We had, of course, to postpone some of the days, like the practical days for NASM. So some people had to wait a few months. But actually, we evaluated everything at the end, and then we had good rates at the exam. So we didn't really see, dropped out of the levels. So we saw the same as we usually do. We get a lot of positive feedback from the people saying, okay, that was for me a good way, to focus on the theory in a bunch and then to have my practical part a bit later on. So we also saw some positive aspects of working that way. So it will probably impact the way we'll be working tomorrow. Now we manage actually to recover and actually recuperate all the people that were waiting for practical sessions. And since end of April, we're actually back on track. So now, as of the summer, we'll be working again fully as we used to do. But in the meantime, we have started recording also some education session, because we will be moving probably to a more kind of a hybrid model.
Yeah, so there you go.
Not only Zoom, but probably a combination between pre-recorded live online session and then on location when necessary. So there is, I think, a big demand for that. So we are preparing for this.
Yeah, it's been a revelation for the training industry, hasn't it? Really, that the online, has a lot to offer. That blended model. We know that personal training is a very practical skill, so we want that practical input. But at some point, there's an awful lot of stuff that can be done online as well. So I think that's very much a positive point from a training point of view. So do you think you're turning out in both, if with that blended model as compared to your previous maybe wholly live model, Fabrice, do you think you'll be turning out the same quality of PT at the end?
Definitely, and I mean,
or even better, I don't know.
Might be, probably, and maybe other kind of people that were not okay with that system in the past, but we will keep offering the different systems. So we're not going to move to what we did to something totally else. We will give people the choice. You can do everything on location, you can do blended, but then according to their need and their specific demand, then they can choose for one system or the other. So that's the way we want to do it.
Okay, fantastic, good. But look, I want to pick up on. So in terms of fitness professionals working in clubs, in terms of the skills, how is the skills need changed? What you offered training, Dipanda, to your guys, and Henk, I'm not sure if you did that also for your PTs.
Yeah, we organized some webinars and we delivered some extra, as Dipanda was saying, also some extra support and to stay connected, indeed. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of, I sit here as a writer of standards and education for various occupational roles. So, what should I be looking to add to those standards? What should we be looking at EuropeActive to add to those standards to meet this new challenge that the personal trainer is going to face in terms of interacting in an online situation? So, key skills, key thoughts, anybody?
I can go.
Dipanda.
What we did, I can go, and then what we did is like we saw that the PTs were a little bit amateur, for example, marketing themselves online. So what we tried to give them was some tools to help them to help them to become a little bit more understandable in the way that marketing online and social media works. So that was one of the skills we wanted to add. And you can say, but Dipanda, when you give them these kind of tools, they will leave your facility, they will leave your clubs. Yeah, true. But my first understanding was, and my belief was, how can I help these people? Because they were not making money, like we said before. So the thing is, I want to give them a tool. They can still make money. And then in the future, they will come back to us, because I do believe that we can have, again, people on the gyms and the PTs will come back. So it was more of learning fast and trying to help fast. So the things was, for our strategy was to help them to marketing themselves, online and social media, for example, or designing. Some of them didn't have a brand yet. Some of them didn't know a brand to, for example, Dipanda personal training, creating a brand, and also, for example, use social media. Some of them were using their personal social media accounts to promote their services. In the beginning, it works, but then we know that in the future, if you don't have a professional and something more with a segment of type of clients and trying to deliver service, you're going to lose business in time. So that was the one of the main skills that we tried to help them, was how to help them to marketing themselves online, and also how to give a more professional live PT session. For example, some of them, the light wasn't good, kids passing around, jumping during the classes, during the PT session. So it was a little bit weird. So we learned, and then we tried to deliver that solution to them.
And I think you said earlier, Dipanda, that you actually gave them the facility to a studio to record content and to to produce that content.
That was on the second lockdown, but more on classes, because we didn't had yet the Hut home or the Viva home. But then on the second lockdown, what we did was trying to record videos in the studio that we prepare for the lockdown, and that was the idea, mainly for classes, group fitness classes, but also the tip of the PT. We were giving them the training of the day, and then that was some of the strategies we used.
And when we spoke last week, I think, we were having a bit of a discussion. You were talking about the fact that you are sort of facilitating the situation where trainers in your clubs, they can give those live sessions. They can give those live sessions, but if they then want to run an online session within the club, you've actually provided them with the ability to do that. And obviously, in doing that, I guess some of their clients might be people that are members of your gym, but some of those people might be not members of your gym, and this might be something that isn't connected to you at all. And so how does that work, Dipanda? That's what I'm thinking.
The way we did it was trying to have something like space and some rooms and some places where they can, for example, finish a live session in the gym with a member, and then they have online. So we kind of we increase the Wi-Fi, for example, power. So we have a place where you can sit with your laptop or with your phone or with your iPad, and you can give a session online. So that's the way we did it, and I do believe that in the future, you need to have, because PTs in a way are our clients, because they are paying us a fee. So you need to treat your clients the best way you can. So creating this model, this solution, we are increasing the value proposition for the personal trainers. So, and then in the end, like you were saying, they can engage with some members, for example, in the US, they can buy an online subscription, for example, from VivaGym or from Fitness Hut, and that's the way you can do it also. Or, for example, some people are afraid saying, but Dipanda, if they are giving PT session for members that cancel, that is not good for us because that member is not paying us anymore. I say, but in the end, the PT is paying, and I do believe that we need to fight the diseases that we have in the world, and we know that are connected to sedentarism, people that sit all day. So that's the competition. Basic Fit and Fitness, or in this case with VivaGym, it's more a thing of industry, and we are in the people business, and we needed to obtain as much people in as possible. So I don't see it as a threat. I just see trying to create solutions for everyone, for PTs and for members and for non-members, and I think that.
But this is a very different world, isn't it? Where that PT is going in, they're giving sessions, they're then maybe going to a space where they can give an an online connection, whatever that is, a consultation or an actual session, and all within the walls of your facility. Massively increases the opportunity for personal trainers. Yeah, I guess there's always a danger that they may then go and do their own thing, but ultimately they need a space to train people live, right? So and that's the club. So Henk, in Basic Fit, I'm thinking, what do you see the key skills for the personal trainer? Are you facilitating those situations for them?
Yeah, we do it, but more on the business side. When it's really coming to training skills, we have a great collaboration with, for example, Fabrice, right, who's actually also creating content on our own platform we offer to our personal trainers. What I feel, and I think what we have learned over the last year, is that especially when trainers go online, it's a very different skill set. It's the focus. The trend was already moving more to lifestyle coaching, behavior change, right? Yeah. Also for personal trainers, moving away partially from the physical training, the training routines and making the program. I think it's much more about motivation, getting the work done, drink a glass of water, changing that behavior. And I think there is what we see, there is a huge opportunity. And also, again, reverting back to, widening this market, us as a low-cost, high-value operator, as we say, being able also to, together with the trainers, using their skill set already available, to open that personal training market for a wider audience, right? So by price point, and therefore you have to choose different channels, right? So the online channel, what we have seen in the last year, might actually work quite good also for personal training. However, again, what I said in the beginning is we need to adjust also the type of content. So I think especially there, we should move much more from providing training programs to getting people to work, right? And motivating them. And then, sorry to say, but the program is not always the most important. First of all, let's get them to move, right? Let's get them back to the club. Yeah. Our aim is what we are now, let's see, like a kind of a North Star. It's not the total amount of members in Basic Fit. It's really about engagement, whether it's a personal training session, a visit to the club, a visit to our social media. They buy a nutrition product from our nutrition brand. We started selling little fitness tools, Basic Fit branded in the last year, right? Even if they work out at home, being in relation, creating that connection with the Basic Fit customer, to us is the most important. Even if it's only visiting the club once every 2 weeks, we still have those other connections. And we strongly believe if we build that connection and we create that relationship, they consume a little bit more of this and the motivation goes down. They consume a little bit more of that. So, and I think the personal trainer at let's say the highest peak of interaction level plays a hugely important role. But we also, it's not solely that one-on-one interaction. I think working together more with the personal trainers maybe in a different relationship in the future. We don't know. We're exploring. Especially in the online variation. Yeah, I think there is a huge opportunity to also, what we did with our clubs, we kind of democratized fitness, 50% of our customers in France has never been in a club before. And some of them will drop off and others move on, right? And I think also with personal training, we're helping those trainers also to create more market and make the cake bigger. That's actually, it's more on a higher level of it. And the details I cannot disclose, especially with Dipanda in the room here. You know, I can't disclose everything, you understand. But I think it's more, and it's not about that actually. It's about more the thinking behind, you know, the direction together for us. It gave us the last year gave us a huge opportunity and insight that we have to widen and broaden this industry and use the word health a little bit more. You know?
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I just thinking about that. There's you know, you can. Online offers a number of advantages. That thing where, yes, we can reach out to more people, we can grow, you know, the cake or the pie, whatever it is. But also that, you know, this switching of emphasis from maybe, you know, the implementation of a program to actually then more of a supportive lifestyle, behavior management, motivation kind of thing, that will ultimately widen the market as well, because we're not just appealing to those people who want to come and work out in the gym.
Sure.
We're appealing to a much broader cross-section of our community.
Yeah. But in the traditional one-on-one session in the club, you know, of course you're going to run the program because you've got an hour with that client. I need to fill the hour. So now you can have a 2-minute session today and a 30-second session tomorrow, right? So you can actually use that new way of interaction to actually adjust your. If you're trying to do the old style training within that new model, for sure it's not going to work, right?
No, I mean we early on we had some webinars at some EuropeActive type webinars, and I know one of the guys who'd been working, one of the PTs been working many years with online. He said, you know, this isn't what we're not trying to do here is replicate the live situation online. That's not the opportunity that we need to exploit here with online. The opportunity is all those touch points that you can provide through online, that you can maintain that contact and motivation with clients through in a whole variety of ways now, so that you're almost with them. You're a part of what you're part of their health journey, shall we say?
Yeah. No, absolutely true. I fully agree. Yeah.
Okay, so Fabrice, then, so you know Dipanda was talking about you know, those marketing and sales skills that PTs will need. You know, maybe, you know, we're talking here about behavioral management. We're talking about motivation type skills as well, lifestyle management type skills. So I know that you guys at PCA have, you know, been offering training to your learners in working online. So could you talk about that a little bit, the training that you specifically offered to your learners?
Yeah, well, we sure did at the very beginning. Try to help out where we could. And for the moment, we are still actually figuring out how we're going to really implement that in our course portfolio, because you know, when going through a crisis, from my part, it's all about focus. And my focus number one was to make sure we could support our community the best way possible. So we actually managed on supporting that community, and not that much yet about, okay, how is our offer gonna evolve in the coming month and years. So that's something we have some plans already, but we still need to work it out. What we did to have a very clear solution on the short term is that we started collaboration with Online Trainer Academy. So we actually facilitated the access to Online Trainer Academy of Jonathan Goodman. So some of people took the course with us. And for the rest, well, we tried as well when we interacted with those students. They called us for questions. You know, it was not in a course, but myself and my team was there to try to support as good as we could from a, you know, man-to-man actually perspective. I wanted to make if you allow me, Julian, just to come back of what Dipanda and Henk Jan were saying, and I totally agree with what they said about the importance of more working towards a lifestyle, sales and marketing, which is very different, because it's very different to sell your services online than to work in a basic fit and say, hey, if you want, I can give you some advice and maybe give you some coaching. It's not the same job anymore, right? It's totally different. So of course, sales and marketing skills, being able to sell online, have a good funnel management system, the use of social media, this will be key for sure. And like Dipanda said as well, you also need, when you train online, to have a good customer experience, right? Because people have expectation. So you need to have a good camera, a good microphone, not having all your family in the background. So people need to invest as well in time and education to get that right. But for me, and that's maybe if I can be a bit more specific, because we are now having 2 big fitness operators on board with relief facilities. And there is also a big market of personal trainers not working in big facilities, all right? And I think what I said to those people, how it has been changing from my side, and I think that Dipanda introduced a little bit, it's also about having a very clear value proposition, because there is now so much out there on the market that it's very important for them to have a clear value proposition, so that people need to know what kind of coach are you and why would they have to choose you. So it's very much about, figuring out, okay, who am I? How am I gonna actually propose my services on the market? So that's important, because there has been a lot there, and a lot of people actually move directly to online social media. We saw a lot of things. We laughed a lot as well for what we saw. It was always with a good intention. But when you are a company training provider working with an ASM, quality of movement is key, and you need to make some progressions in your approach. And then you see some things being proposed online with the best intention. That's not, I'm a bit scared. So I think that in the future we need to figure out, because people don't really know anymore. Okay, where should I go online to find a trainer? Because sometimes it's for free, sometimes I have to pay for it, and what makes a good trainer? So I think there is still a lot to do over there, but what we actually said to our committee is try to have a very clear value proposition, and that's for me step number 1.
Okay, now that's really interesting, Fabrice, and that phrase has come up a couple of times actually, value proposition. So maybe let's delve into that a little bit. Yeah, clearly I think that the personal trainer, if they're going into that online space, they need to have a clear value proposition. Why them? And I guess maybe that speaks to one of the themes we had in our international standards meeting in Copenhagen a year or so ago, the last live event that I was involved in, which was focusing on differentiation and specialization within PT. And I think that's maybe would talk to what you've just spoken about, Fabrice, that trainers need to think about, rather than trying to appeal to everybody, actually differentiating themselves and having a focus on a particular group, whether that's working with postnatal women or whatever that is. Maybe that differentiation will provide that value proposition for the personal trainer, and I think that's probably a point there. But one of the things that I just wanted to explore as we come towards the end of this, which has been really interesting, is that value proposition that Dipanda talked about, that in the context of, he feels that Fitness Hut and VivaGym need to be offering a value proposition to their trainers in order to hold on to those trainers. He sees the trainers as clients of VivaGym and Fitness Hut. So and that speaks to me a little bit. Is there a changing relationship here in terms of personal trainers within gyms, within operators, that that the personal trainer maybe is going to have a little bit more say and a little bit more clout, a little bit more power in this situation? Is there a changing relationship here? Could I ask, anybody want to pick that up?
Yeah, I guess I can. Yeah, no, definitely. As said, we are in this freelance model, let's say, this head trainer thing. But what we said, and it really relates to the online, the things being said, marketing, skills, how to specialization, etc., and getting appeal, basically lead generation. I think we as a chain, as in a relationship with our trainers, we can support massively. We got this huge reach with our marketing machine, and what we are doing as well already more and more. We're actually in the middle of our PT month in Basic Fit. We can really support those trainers with the things they are not natural or primarily skilled at, right? Lead generation, closing deals, positioning them at the right level, also to different target groups, because specialization is not just pre and postnatal and lower back injuries, but is also saying at a certain price point, right? Online allows me to have a bigger group of people. Of course, the quality of my service is different, but you see actually kind of a reflection what we saw in the fitness industry, low cost coming up at some point, specialization, the boutiques. I think that entire development is just a sign of an industry becoming much more mature. And I think what we saw first in the club business, we now also see in the personal training business. So we'll see probably different levels price point as well. Of course, with connected different types of services. It's not like you're doing the same thing for 20 euros or maybe 40 euros, not per hour, but per month. It's a very different proposition. It's a different job, actually. And I think us as an operator can really strengthen that relation with the personal trainer.
Yes.
What type of form that would be legally seen, right, in terms of tax systems. We know in different countries we have to deal differently. But those rules are not for nothing, right? So we need to have a very clear relationship with them and a very fair relationship with them as well. That's highly important to us. And we are exploring within the current model, and then let's see what we can, come from there, and let's move in also on paper a different relationship. Well, we're not yet there, but I think the direction is pretty clear.
Yeah, there's a shift going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
Dipanda, anything to add there?
Yeah, from my point of view is like, I totally agree with what Henk said before. And for me, it's like we did that from the beginning. We want to have a very transparent relationship with the PTs. We told them in the beginning, 10 years ago, look, you pay 13 euros per day, and you can make as much money as you can. We're going to put here a lot of people. You're going to have all the tools. You're going to have Dipanda to help you out, and then you will achieve success. That's the way we wanted to do things. But with the COVID, we didn't change. We didn't change a bit because we know the importance of our PTs, for example, can achieve 20,000 members. That's a lot of members. That's a lot of members. So in a way, I do believe that those clubs or those chains who think who would have a mindset of a PT business perspective, that will help them grow a lot. For example, PTs are not just should not be seen just this is a secondary revenue. Let's make some money of the PTs. No. They must be a core decision of the business, because that will help us grow for another level. My point of view. So the way we see things is like, I would take care of everyone as I would like them to take care of me. That's the way we see, and that's the way we want. That's a little bit of philosophy. But I do believe in life, like in business, if you treat people good, if you help people, if you develop people, they will give you back. So that's why we went from 0 PTs in 2011 or 24 PTs in one club to 706 PTs among 40 clubs or 43 clubs or 44 clubs. So just in Portugal. I'm not talking about Spain, where we have 45 million of people. So that's the way I see it. So is a relationship, a strong relationship, and a business partnership that should be very strong. And maybe, like you said, Julian, is a change of paradigm.
Yeah, no, absolutely, a change of paradigm. And Fabrice, I mean, that sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, as training providers, I've been there. The one thing that our graduates are looking for is meaningful employment opportunities, to go into a vocation, not just a job, something that they're passionate about, something that they they want to learn more. And it just sounds like the environment that they might be stepping into now is maybe a more rewarding one.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted to hear what I just heard from Dipanda and Henk Jan. One thing that actually never stopped during the pandemic is that we kept on receiving demands from PT studios, from chains like Basic Fit and other partners we have, that are really seeking for good PTs, because there are PTs and good PTs, and mostly they're looking for good PTs, right? And those are not that easy to find. We are now ourselves in the process of also managing a PT team for a big club here in Brussels and in Antwerp, and it's not that it's a totally different job, right? It's pretty new, so we are experiencing that as well. My feeling is at this stage, if I look at our territory in Belgium, is that I very often receive the feedback from PTs, and I think that's something which can be improved. And it would maybe be nice also Dipanda to have a chat on that, of how you guys are doing that in Portugal. But sometimes I get the feedback from a lot of PTs that their experience in clubs is that they are more being seen as just a little extra revenue stream and not really as a strategic partner. And I think that if change and clubs really want to attract the PTs that will really bring added value to their facilities, then they need to make this mind shift, and also making sure that they invest. And it's not only about investing, you know, money. It's just time. It just give them some attention, and make them feel, you know, important. Get them on board when some decision needs to be made. Okay, are we going to reorganize the club? Is that okay for you? Because sometimes there's the feeling, you know, I'm there and well, I'm just paying a rent a month and that's it. And that's what I hear. The main reason why most of the people won't stay. So I think that from my experience and the feedback I receive, that in Belgium, for example, we still have some improvements to make on that stage, and I think it will benefit both the PT, but also the club, and finally the client, because that's what we are working for, right?
Yeah, it sounds like a very a mutually supportive relationship. That's something that we would very much want. I mean, you know, I've certainly heard feedback from the industry that, you know, that there are some issues out there with recruitment, that, you know, maybe people have actually left the industry. I know, Dipanda, that you lost some personal trainers, and you know, that people have maybe left the industry, or you know, are now working independently. You know, it could be a variety of reasons, and you know, and are the clubs going to be able to recruit a sufficient amount of PTs to make all this work? I mean, any final views on that?
Yeah, we lost 300 PTs in 6 months. For me, that was a lot. And we lost 350 PTs, to be more honest, to be more specific, 300 in Portugal and 50 in Spain during from June, when we opened the first lockdown, until December. The main thing was that they were not making money. We, as a low-cost provider or a low-price provider, I don't mind, low price provider, because we offer quality as a small price. We had a lot of PT because we had a lot of also demand of members. Our clubs on average would have 4,000 members. So even though if you're not a good PT, like Fabrice was saying, there are PTs and PTs, you could make some decent money and you could live from that. But then when you lose, like, I can say you lose 40% of your members. So the business is a huge downgrade. So you need to, or you have the right skills, or you are not going to be able to survive. So mainly some of the PTs went to the online, some amateur, but they make money on the online. Because Portugal, you have sun weather every year. So some of them on the outdoor, some of them went to the outdoor, and some of them home training. I do reckon some PTs were doing PCR tests to go to the clients to give training at home. More old people, they were not comfortable or secure about going back to the gym. And that was mainly in some boutiques, and some PTs also create on their basement or garage a studio to deliver training. So in a way, we lost 300 PTs, but my main concern was, how can I help these people to make money, to survive, and also keep the communication, keep the connection with them. And then when our members come back, because they will, okay, some of them we lost, like we said before, but the majority will come back, those PTs will bring those members back in. That's the strategy behind the process. Yes. So in the end, I do believe that you're losing now, but then you're gonna make it happen again. But you are right in one point, recruitment. Because now some of the PTs have that solution outdoor. For example, I have one person that is she's my ex-wife. She's a personal trainer. And these days now, she's working operating in a club, but then she's giving online training, because some of their clients are not going back to are still working from home. So working as a profession, but because, for example, our clubs in Lisbon, for example, or in Madrid, where we have the office, are not empty. We don't have much people attending to those clubs. So for example, Rita, my ex-wife, she's giving training to those clients by Zoom. But then some of the other clients, she's just going to their home. So in the end, we're having some trouble to recruit more PTs. But the main focus is those PTs who stay with us, we'll help them with new skills, with the real skills, and then also help them to strive in these times of crisis. And that because we and I personally believe that in the future, they will come back, but Now we're having some trouble on recruiting more PTs.
Okay. Well, look, I'd love to bring the other guys in on that, but we've come to the end of our hour, and I'm going to need to wrap this up. But I could talk to you guys all day. Actually, there's so much going on.
Absolutely.
It's a very different world we face, and I think it's great to hear how the clubs are looking to support their PTs and facilitate their success. And part of that is the online environment. We start to see some of the benefits of working online and what working online could be about. Maybe that shift from the aesthetic program design stuff alone to this lifestyle approach. Lots of touch points with our clients, lots of motivation for our clients through online contact. Maybe that high-tech, high-touch approach. It all sounds fantastic, and it sounds like lots of opportunities for personal trainers out there. So while we may have lost a few people along the way, and that's very regrettable, I think those opportunities are going to draw people back in. I mean, Fabrice mentioned right at the outset that that people are contacting him about coming on a training course that might not have considered it before. Health now and lifestyle is front of people's minds, and so while we've been through some pretty grim times, the future actually starts to look quite innovative, quite dynamic, and quite promising. Yep. Do we all agree with that?
I think it's a nice sum up. Well done, Julian.
Did my best. I did my best.
That was it.
Okay, look. So look, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you coming on today. Great contributions, and I'll have a little think about all of that because there's so many implications. And but it's been great. Thank you. I think I'm going to wrap up with a slide here, which I'm hoping is going to appear any second. And there it is. That's the start. Oh, here we go. So yes, that's the appropriate one. Thank you for watching. Save the date for the following pre-EHFF session on the 9th of September. Okay, so we're gonna have more pre-events for the EHFF, and they'll come through in September. I think I'm doing another one on the sort of role of a health coach or a health specialist, and how that personal training role maybe is shifting in that regard. Please make sure you register for the EHFF 2021 in November, and you can get early bird rates on all those wonderful things. I'm also holding, I'll just give that a plug, my international standards meeting. Not my international standard meeting, EuropeActive's international standards meeting, but it's very dear to me, and I hope some of you can join us for that as well. So lovely. Thanks for your time, guys. You've been brilliant, and thanks to all those viewers who've taken the time to watch this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.